Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host, John, better known as Dayo, around Yak Spin, and we have a fantastic show for you. Surprise trailer for the Next Living World episode, open narrative position at ArenaNet, and ArenaNet's 2018 Roundup, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He streams over on Twitch where he answers the age-old question. We have been teased with a new legendary, but how quick will age have it? Say hello to age.
I would have said day one. I don't know, because I put a poll on Twitter asking if I should make a legendary this year.
I'm surprised you already don't have it somehow.
I would get banned if I had it now. So, but yeah.
Come on, by this point, I'm sure the arena devs go, here, we already know you have the materials. Test it out somehow. It's already in the,
I can prep it. I'll try to have a day one. That's 2 weeks of farming. Try my best.
Yeah, chat saying get farming. You gotta go. Don't tell him that. He won't show up here. He'll be like, chat told me to go farm. And I'm like, yeah, chat. All right. Well, unfortunately, I mean, it's the holidays. People are getting busy. It's just us two. But let us jump. What's that?
We can make it if we try.
And well, let us jump right into it. So this past week, we talked about last week how they were like, oh, we have, it of course isn't, episode 5 wasn't launching. It's like, I think it was a no-brainer. But, we were like, okay, that must be the end of it. We'll probably hear stuff after, holiday break. But surprisingly enough, first off, there was like a leak, I think, from a French site or something that was, because I know a lot of people were translating it, of like the video or like the information about it. But literally the next day, which was Tuesday, so I'm wondering, a lot of people were saying like, oh, they basically released the teaser trailer for episode 5, and a lot of people were wondering, did they do that for that, or maybe it was, and we've had this happen before where fan websites have gone early, but it was always planned for Tuesday, because it would be weird if they, I don't know, I've never been in the background of it. How early, do you know possibly how early they tend to give them a teaser trailer? I just find it weird. I would find it weird if they would give them the teaser trailer and stuff so far in advance.
I don't know, it usually happens. I mean, some sites would get, like, I know, what was it, MMORPG.com? I have gotten some pre-things before they went up on the official site a couple years ago. I remember that. I think another site did so as well, maybe Eurogamer or something like that. But I think it just leaked a few hours a little too early. I just came out a little too early, and that's about it. But maybe the embargo date was the day of. And
since they're probably time ahead, they probably assumed or set their schedule things, which tends to happen. But I'm sure everybody's wondering, we do have the teaser here, and you'll get to see it. The new episode is actually called All or Nothing, so I mean, if that doesn't sound climactic, like, but I think supposedly we're supposed to be theoretically getting another episode after this, because they did say at episode 3 we were halfway through, whether that was rounding or just, so possibly still another episode. But All or Nothing, that really makes it sound like this is either like the cliffhanger, or boy, are they going to build it up for that last episode.
Yeah.
But what you can, go ahead.
It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, so the new map, Thunderhead Peaks, which is for Guild Wars 1 players, Thunderhead Keep, kind of that area, if you remember that mission. New Fractal, Siren's Reef, new legendary longbow, Faris, the new mastery, Bond of Faith, and also new upgradable weapons. They're called the Dragon's Blood weapon sets, new diviner gear, new mistlock instabilities, which I'm kind of interested to see how much crazier it's gonna be.
Yeah, I've seen some people who play Fractals a lot are pretty hyped for it. Uh, it adds a variety of gameplay to Fractals, so I think it'll be a different change of pace. It'll be interesting to get used to. Hopefully, some of them bring a different challenge that players are enticed to actually face. So,
Mm-hmm. And if you're wondering, all this is coming out January 8th. So it's definitely in the new year, but it's sooner rather than later. So, um, yeah, chat's even noticing how we because if you actually listen to the actual thing, it's talking kind of basically how it is, all or nothing. And our player character, which is the voice you're constantly hearing, it's kind of been the one that's going through the whole season so far. Just basically says, it's time to it's time that we kill the crystal dragon. So, oof.
like, screw it, let's just do it.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting. It's like, I guess we're not really gonna try that whole like we gotta try to preserve them. Like, he's like, I tried that. He's now more annoying. It's like that kid that's like, we don't spank our kid, but then they get too out of control. It's like, all right, I gotta do something. I gotta give them maybe a little bit of a tap to show them. It's like, hey, you know.
I don't know how we're gonna kill it.
That's gonna be the interesting question.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the chat was saying, they like the like kind of the Godzilla feel of Kralkatork, as you can see it like sifting kind of through the background of like some of the scenes. And
yeah, it's I've voiced my opinion about how in the last episode Kralkatork just like kind of passively went to sleep, which kind of annoyed me a little bit. But in terms of pacing of the story, but I guess now we're gonna deal with it. We'll see what happens. What state Kralkatork's in, how much corruption is going on, which is interesting because it doesn't seem like it's been too much. Maybe just a section of Shiver Peaks.
yeah,
What?
but maybe we're probably gonna try to at the end, at like near the end, kind of do like even like more speculation. So if you are truly trying to still avoid stuff, we probably won't put the spoiler tag up, but it's more of just so it's sectioned off. This is kind of more just the newsy bit. But like chat's even saying, apparently the new instabilities have ups and downs. So like some of the things have negative effects, but also have a positive effect, which I'm glad they're going that route, because it makes you feel better when you hit certain instabilities. But does that now necessarily make other instabilities, I don't want to say worse, but maybe feel worse, because now they're paired with like, oh, this one doesn't have a positive? It's like,
I guess it depends on it. And I don't really do fractals too much, so I wouldn't know all the instabilities or how challenging it would be to have certain well, I could just imagine, but I feel like the new instabilities for different levels of fractals, and it just really depends on what they are, and there are 9 of them apparently. So
yeah,
and just that different, like, imagine you had 3 different instabilities and it was very challenging, and then you swap one out for one of these new ones, and it's like, oh, it's a whole different ball game. That's what I'm interested in, how effective the instabilities are in changing the game and how you play a certain fractal.
chat's being harsh, because that's one thing we did notice too, because Logan was supposed to be looking to more of a desk job type thing, but as we can see right here, that he's circled around us, the commander, which insinuates probably more on the front line for this episode and leading up. I mean, so it's kind of interesting that he's coming out of retirement or delaying retirement before he goes to that desk job, or
Yeah.
which, which I think is kind of fitting, because this is kind of the one that Destiny's Edge It's the one dragon that got away that they were, they have a lot of history with this one in particular.
Seems, no offense, that seems like a setup for death, like a cliche setup for death.
Oh, well, no, but if you think about it, I mean, we've had Ritlock kind of by our side this whole time, and right at the very end of the last episode, Case shows back up, and now
Hmm.
Logan's coming out of the woodwork. I wonder if we're gonna get Destiny's Edge to come back, out of nowhere. Maybe they finally secured some time for uh, what's her face to do what's the Asuran Zoja,
Soja.
or maybe she just comes back and she can't talk. I don't know, like you know, because she's still affected by the miasma, suppose, or the cocoon
Ugh,
thing in Heart of
it's
Thorns, right?
been 2 years.
Yeah. Well, hey, she was totally submerged into a cocoon. We don't know how long that affects her.
Actually, honestly, yeah, it's been
Yeah, it was at the
like
end of
three
Heart of
years.
Thorns.
Yeah, 3 years now. Jeez. Uh, I think they need to find some way to bring Zoja in because I think she's important in all of this as well. So either just get a new voice actor or just have her mute or something and have a golem like voice. I don't know. Like bring her back in some
Okay,
way. I
chat's
feel like
saying she has been available and did want to do more, but ANET just hasn't contacted her. I don't know when that, like, I'm assuming that she said that on a tweet or something. I don't know when that was.
oh,
Maybe they did between that time frame, but um, because now I'm even thinking about it because I was like, this is the bad thing. I was like, I'm missing one of the heroes in Destiny's Edge, and I'm like, oh, oh
yeah.
yeah. But to be fair, it she did return as well, manner speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Probably for
so
expansions, right? But like thinking
this was a while ago, so think in season 3. Okay, yeah, so they could have theoretically got a hold of her for because I doubt I was gonna say I don't know how long they have it planned out. I don't think that far in advance for at least like the dialogue. I'm sure they have a general idea where they want the story to go, but probably the dialogue of
it, I don't think it's necessarily the problem with dialogue. It's like getting the story you want done and
mhm.
need the voice actors like available at some point. So if Felicia Day is like really too busy, like at some point you gotta have to ask yourself, should I be replacing this voice or be coming up with a different way to have Zoja appear in different
Oh
episodes?
no, I agree. I'm just saying from the what chat's saying of Felicia Day said around season 3 that she was available and stuff doesn't necessarily mean that they didn't get her for this if Zoja does
Mm-hmm.
reappear. But
Yeah.
I do agree that they should possibly either, which I kind of don't want them to write out another, unless they're writing out all of Destiny's Edge and focusing more on the player character in their group.
Mm-hmm.
But or maybe just say because she was in that pod, like her voice is like a little worse, and get someone that sounds close to her, but it's a little different. So it's like, oh, it was the Morjama stuff. Like there you go, solved. It was dragon magic that changed her voice. There we go. That's the
Yeah.
perfect excuse for everything, right?
Yeah. Because the problem is right now, Zoja doesn't is one of the important characters in the Gilbert Shoes storyline, but she doesn't show up as much.
Yeah, especially
And
when there was those awkward moments where I think previously when Felicia Day was busy, where they used her in the story, but they just had her send a letter, and it was like, well, okay, like
yeah, like it's
everybody else is
uh,
showing up. Zoja, why are you so high and mighty?
yeah, it's just it takes it takes away from an avenue of story that you can tell with Zoja. I guess.
Hmm.
I guess that's how I feel.
And I'm really curious about Siren's Reef, which is going to be the new fractal of like, is this a place? I mean, all of them were different places in time of Tyria, but I don't know. Seeing that boat kind of reminds me of what was it, Sanctum?
South Sun,
Which one?
South Sun Cove.
No, it's reminding me of Guild Wars 1's mission, the
Oh,
Sanctum, or Sanctum K,
Sanctum.
where basically
Yeah.
you have the, uh,
Oh, that's
oh,
when we're going for the staff, right?
yeah, basically where the guy summons the ship from the depths or something. It kind of looks like the same harbor type thing, but granted, it's a harbor on the beach. Sanctum K,
Yeah,
okay.
Sanctum K. Yeah.
Granted, it shows a scene of a, beach and a dock on it. That could be tons of things, but I don't know. That just gave me that idea of seeing that ghost ship kind of appearing out of the.
Hmm.
So maybe it's one of those moments, but especially because it'd be interesting if it was like almost like a protecting, like fixing that time spot in time of the old Guild Wars 1 mission, especially because we're going back to Thunderhead Peaks, which is Thunderhead Keep, which a lot of people are kind of like, oh, we're gonna get to see, like, are we gonna have to defend Thunderhead Keep, haha, like, which, well, we have a big
Yeah.
giant dragon, so we might.
Hmm. It might be the
Ooh,
attacker system. Right?
I like what that makes even more sense. I like what Tavic's saying. It could be Siren's Landing before Orsank.
That's true. We still have ore area that was like beach like. So that's very possible too.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Hmm.
Oh, what if it's? Well, no, that wouldn't make too much sense. I was gonna say, what if it was when maybe it's like if once or risen, maybe it's like undead ships that were corrupted by Zaitan start invading or like piling into there and stuff, and you're trying to defend it or something. I don't know, but
Mhm.
sounds like a Key and Peel East Coast West Coast team university football name. Peakeeps. Oh man. But yeah, and the Bond of Faith new master skill looks interesting. Now, I because it kind of shows like you hop off your beetle and then you glide, or not necessarily glide, but you use like either the glint wings that we've seen in some of the story missions, or I wonder if it uses whatever your animation for your glider is. Which, if that's the case, super kudos credit to ArenaNet on monetizing, because even though it looks like you're not using it as a glider, it's kind of like using a leap skill. Yeah, midair dismount type thing. It If it uses your back animation, it gives people that maybe don't have Heart of Thorns to buy glider skins,
Hmm.
which is good from a marketing standpoint. If that is the case, I'm not sure, but it could just be they use that's the animation look, just because Bond of Faith it could theoretically mean, like, the whole bond with Irene, or the bond, like the whole kind of Glenn always looking over us type thing. But
Yeah. Hmm. I thought it looked the glint skills like very reminiscent to the Sanctum Scramble interior. Like underneath the city, there's a adventure where you kind of have to go through checkpoints race to finish. So if you ever played that, that's what it looked like to me. But
oh,
it
and chat's
a
saying
better
they
replacement.
had an idea that like the bunny fort could be more vertical. That's a good point, because this should, if it follows the other types things, go across all the mount types. So I wonder if they will function differently, or there's just. I like your idea of like it makes the bunny go maybe a little bit more vertical, or just shoots you up more vertical, like it does a jump and then you can jump off its back or something like that. But
Hmm. Yeah.
and also chat saying faith could just be the leap of faith that you're taking. Like that's a good point. That if you're really trusting your mount, if you're just gonna get bucked off of it, and
Hmm. Yeah. I guess we'll see. Bonds. Hmm.
oh, what if it's a way to dismount and glide like a lot of people have been wanting? I mean, if you do it over a cliff, I'm sure you can, because I'm assuming it has to finish the animation at some point. But the way it's showing on there, it looks like it's literally throwing you to a certain point, and that's
And
why I don't.
the only way you can dismount, there is no way to dismount and glide. Now I think about it, it's only the opposite, and only on a griffin. I think, yeah, because you can glide, and mid glide you can swap to griffin. You can't do the opposite. So that actually would be kind of cool.
And that's what I was agreeing with Mithrin. Was when I looked at it, it kind of looks like the wings that you get from that mission in Heart of Thorns, where you're running away from Fowlin. But they did turn those into the basically the glint, the Chris. What do they call the back piece? Is it Glint's wings or something? Like they basically reuse that skin to actually make it a back piece. So that's why I was wondering if it uses your glider skin, or is it is
Like
it a
Chris.
set thing? But I mean, a lot of questions, you know, coming from just this. Um, we'll try to speculate about maybe where the story, where we may think the story goes, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. We'll do that after Gem Store. That way, if people are trying to avoid things, maybe they haven't gotten to it yet, that'll be a good time for them to escape. But any other thoughts on kind of the season 4, episode
That
5?
that longbow though.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the longbow. We briefly.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have been comparing it to the Aether bow. Because it's
I would say I
very,
saw
very.
some people saying it's like almost like a cross. People were trying to say it looks like a cross between the chaos and I
Was it
forget
the
what the other
Aether
one they were
bow?
saying. I
Aether
think when
bow.
it's like glowing is what they're thinking of, like because it's so pale white. It looks like the chaos of it, but
Yeah,
um
it's like a chaos version of the Aether bow.
yeah, I think maybe that was it.
Uh huh.
Okay, yeah, that's what chat. Yeah, that's the one thing I was hearing about.
Yeah, I was. Uh, anyway, honest. I need to see all of it to make a final decision. But I do see what people are saying. But I need to see unsheath animation, sheath animation, sounds it makes, things like that, footfalls, things like that, in order to determine its like status among the bows. But if you compare like kudzu to any plant-based longbow, it's very different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the distinction between this new bow, and the other ghost-like bows, it needs that distinction in order to separate itself from the other ones.
And I kind of
For
agree with the chat of basically of how many more dwarves will we find, since this was kind of in Guild Wars 1, one of the big places the dwarves had like one of the Civil War fights, but also was kind of an important spot for them. But I'm hoping we see it. If we don't see dwarves, I hope we get more dwarf lore and like backstory, since we are going through their ruins, and so maybe it'll trigger people that have the Revenant's
Mhm.
Great Dwarf skill. But yeah, we'll talk. We'll try to talk all about possibilities near the end of this show. But
Mhm.
yeah, I I mean, yeah. Well, I can't wait to see the longbow in game, in person kind of thing when people actually have it, because sometimes these short little teasers don't do them justice. But sometimes they do, because I know people are still upset about the claw of Connor kind of a thing for maybe different
Really?
reasons, but I don't know. It just didn't seem as legendary. It was probably more legendary in lore than it was in look.
Oh yeah, I guess so. It kind of reminds me of Thanos' glove. Now think of it.
Oh my god.
Just with the gems in
Yeah,
it.
that is a good point.
Yeah. Um, some people don't, go for the flash legendaries, right? Some people like a more simplified version, with a little bit of effects. and that might be good enough for some people, right?
Hmm.
So I won't be mad if there's like a non-flashy or more simplified legendary. I don't think they all have to be super flashy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree. I think there should be ones for each
I
group,
totally
and
forgot that existed. Oh, that's kind of bad.
weapon looks like someone merged two skins usually found in the last 6 missions of Guild Wars 1. Oh, the Ivory Longbow and Draknar's Longbow. Which kind of makes sense if it's Draknar's because we're kind of in that area. Maybe it's
Mm.
along the same lines of like kind of like what Age was saying earlier, like the Ghost of Ascalon, like those weapons that are like have a different effect at night or something like that. Maybe it's kind of almost a Draknar, like a dwarven one version of that. Hopefully a little bit more souped up, or maybe not. Like Age said, if it's not so bad to have a more potentially, I don't even want to say plainer looking one that doesn't,
It's
you
more
know,
simplified, yeah.
simplified. Yeah.
Make it glow like a freaking lighthouse lamp.
And Scarlet
I
would
wouldn't,
destroy it.
yeah, I wouldn't mind that either.
But yeah, well, I can't wait to hop in and see what goes on with it. Um, but any final thoughts on the teaser trailer itself? Like I said, we'll kind of dive into speculation
The
more.
only thing I'll talk about is the new upgradable Dragon's Blood weapon sets. It seems like they're going with an upgrade path for stored weapons and armor that they put into the game now. And the last armor set we got was what, like
Well, it
um
was the one in last episode where
last episode, which is interesting, right?
which was
Because
the
it seems like
upgradable
the
one.
cadence ramped up a bit more. So that's pretty cool. And I think it's an interesting way to go forward with introducing weapons and armor that aren't expansion based. And I kind of like that, just adding a bit more because I like we've all like have a little complaints with the like just a ton of outfits in the past and not a lot of new armors coming in. So it's nice
And
to see that we're getting like new different gear like sets rather than uh just outfits. But the diviner's gear, I don't know if it's actual full armor or not.
no,
So
I think people were questioning because a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's a new armor set," but a lot of people were like, "We're pretty sure that it might be the set the stat a new stat set that was." And I guess what chat's
mm.
saying, it was used in PvP but wasn't prevalent in uh,
Oh, I see.
the
Okay.
regular PvE zones. So I
Oh,
think
that's pretty
that's
cool.
where it's.
Okay, so we're gonna get that stack combo, which is I can look that up. Diviners. I believe.
Chat saying it would have been smarter if the upgrades required playing other chapters of the season instead being too expensive like the ascended weapons from chapter 1. But the kind of issue with that is, and I think that might be one of the drawbacks to the season thing, is they kind of have to keep them all self-contained reward wise in the seasons. I mean, they only make the exception with like last season we had the legendary trinket, which kind of stemmed throughout that, but that was kind of released with that intent, not necessarily. I mean, I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind it as someone that logs in all the time, but I know that could probably be the first complaint of, especially if it's not legendary armor type, which it'd be weird if that was legendary armor,
Yeah.
unless it was a lot more intensive.
Yeah. So Tawik said power precision crossing concentration as diviners, which is interesting because they might be doing this for raids since they did all those changes with Mesmer. So it gives people a support DPS option, which is not too bad. Could be fun. Perfect stat for Chronos too. Yeah, damage based Chronos.
And like I said, I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's just I could see people having that as a complaint that it's like, oh, I unlocked this, but in reality, because they labeled it as a feature for this season, it's like, oh, in reality, I need the other 4 episodes. Like that's not fair. Like, but like I said, for me, I wouldn't care because I log in every time. But I could see it being an issue. But you do have a good point that yeah, there are season package sales that luckily they do change depending on if you have other ones unlocked. So it's not like you're wasting money. But
Yeah. I don't think new players are going to directly just go to legendaries, right? So I don't think it's a huge deal until they start playing the game more frequently and then they get all the things or they want to get all the things.
well, even well, I think what Mithrin's talking about is like a set of armor that you have to get use other episodes from the season. So it
Um,
might not necessarily be legendary armor because, like I said, that would probably be a stretch at that for it to be contained in a season.
I see.
But if it was like a different skin, because maybe they make it ascended, but I don't know. Have we really gotten an achievable? Well, I guess even the last one. No, the last one only went up to
Mm,
exotic, right? It didn't turn into ascended, did it?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I
Maybe
don't think we've ever gotten really ascended
I
from
was gonna say I don't
unless we had to
remember.
buy it by farming, but
Yeah,
only trinkets that I can recall. Um, hmm.
well, it just raises that question of um, would people go be willing to buy all these other seasons for a skin? Because if it's exotics, you can get that fairly enough. But
Yeah, it's mostly people would like. I don't really play for the skins. I play for the story, and
yeah,
like, but yeah, that's just me, I guess. So I guess it really depends on how invested a player is, right? So if a player comes into the game uh, now, or like really invest, they have a good time. Through 2 3 months later, they realize, oh, I need the past episodes to get all of this stuff. I'll do that, and I think they'll actually go and buy those episodes, no problem. But a person who has like gone away from the game for a while but knew about like you have to log in every time to unlock episodes, it really depends on if they plan to come back or not, right? So if they plan to come back, they'll probably just log in when the episode lands and then okay, I'll have this episode play later. If they didn't plan to come back but then decide to hop in, see what's new type of thing, well, not much they can
mm-hmm.
do. Yeah.
But and I agree with like what Wispy Gem is saying of like there is the argument of are these the people of I want all the shiny things but don't want to log in once every like 3 to 4 months. That is true that there are going to be people in that camp, but I'm even thinking of the people that kind of like what Age is saying that maybe just start the game and it's like I don't know, it's always that one worrying thing, especially when it's kind of pushed forward where it's like oh, the updates are free and stuff like that, but the expansions and stuff like that. But it's always that worrying thing. Like, a lot of people made fun of other games. I'm thinking of like Angry Joe's original review of kind of giving the kudos to Arena and Guild Wars 2, where he goes to the GameStop and is like, oh, I want to buy this MMO. Okay, well, here's for the initial thing. Oh, yeah, you're going to need, your internet costs. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. But he's like, oh, you're gonna need your subscription. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Now the expand. It's like, oh, okay. Like he keeps handing them more. It's like, I feel like those people are gonna feel a bit nickel and dimed from that perspective of they just enter the game and they're like, oh, I unlocked the season, but now I have to unlock or other. I unlock this episode. I have to unlock other episodes to potentially get this armor that you said was a feature of this episode. Like I mean, granted, I like the idea. I'm just trying to think ahead of time of hopefully if they do that, they won't refer to it as a feature of the episode. Because I don't think they ever said the legendary the trinket, the amulet, I think it was a feature of the episode. It was released with the episode, but I don't think it was ever stated that it was like you can obtain this with this episode, because that kind of tells you that you can get it with just this episode. I
Yeah.
think I think they released it alongside of it and said this is a collection that you can do across all things. So if they do that
Uh,
ahead of time, then that's a different story, in my opinion.
so yeah, I guess the problem is that we have this new Dragon's Blood weapon set that's coming in with this episode, but the question is it only available with this episode? And if it is, like, and you come in later and you want it, is that a problem? Um,
Honestly, when I see the new upgradable Dragon's Blood weapon set, I feel like it's gonna just be kind of the same thing that we have with the one in the armor that was in the previous episode, where it's just you have a collection, you throw, you get so many things. Hopefully, not insane sigils, um, but
yeah.
a bunch of materials, and then it just upgrades it that way. And it's I'd like to see other
I,
aspects of upgrading it, like I don't know. I always like the idea of like granted they never achieved this, and well they kind of did in what was it, Fable 3 or something, where
mhm.
the way what you did with the weapon shaped how the weapon would turn into the thing. But like in this situation, it's like Dragon's Blood, it's like it hungers for blood of like dragon mat, so you have to go around killing enemies that are like maybe corrupted by dragon magic, or maybe even wyverns, or maybe doing certain tasks instead of just
Just
farm
skimming
and
it.
yeah, get me 8 Deldrimore ingots and this and that, and throw it in there.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think it kind of gets into each episode provides like a bit of content that's only exclusive with that episode. Just, I think the question is now, like, how much content is too much content to add exclusively for an episode?
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like that's kind of the question at hand. Um, because people could come in later, or people don't have the time to log in for whatever reason, um, or people come back to the game later. Um, I don't know, because I feel like if, like, I don't know, because when I was doing like overtime, I still logged in, like, to
Yeah,
get the
it's not
episode
that hard to
until
log
it.
in unless you hit maybe some snags. Like, I mean, it happened to me where I couldn't log in for a little while, and I know someone earlier in chat was having the issue of their
Yeah,
hopefully it
their
doesn't
account.
last. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully it doesn't last 3 to 4 months. So but if you can't, if you have an authenticator on it, and for some reason, like for me, my phone reset to like one time I turned it on, it was just back to factory reset. Like I don't know why, it was just an old phone, but and I was
Mhm.
like, oh, so I looked for the app and it wasn't there. I put it in. I'm like, oh, there's no way to connect or anything, and so basically I was locked out of my account, and oh, that was a nightmare. Like, and granted, I didn't do it with Guild Wars 2 because that was the main game I was playing at the time. But I was like, my Blizzard Authenticator was on it, and I was like, I thought about it, I was like, I'm not really playing any Blizzard games right now. I'm not going to go jump through those hoops.
Yeah.
Like, so I can understand maybe someone that's coming back, or, that maybe is on the fence, and they look at it and it's like, I got to go jump through all these hoops and connect, send an email to their, customer service, and hopefully they get back to me in time, or they just gonna be like, I'm just gonna check out, because I know for that one they're like, you don't need it, but they say it makes the process a little faster. Is like, oh, do you have your, you know, old, the code, the serial codes for the games, so we can
Human
prove it's
people.
you type thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, do I have to really go? It's how it depends on how much buried at reentry is for the person and uh
Hmm.
how
Yeah.
invested they are in of doing that.
I think it all depends on your investment in the game and how much you want cosmetics. I think those are the two factors. So
Yeah.
if you're already invested in the game, I don't think you have a problem because you're already logging in pretty much very frequently. If you are a person who just want to take a break and come back, I think if you still want to come back, you'll remember to log in when an episode lands. If you're new to the game, that's kind of where it gets tricky because if you're new to the game and you like cosmetics and you see, oh, this is only available in this episode, it becomes like, do you want to spend this money? Do you want to, uh, that's where it kind of gets tricky for me. But,
Mm-hmm.
mm, that's
Are you
interesting.
trying to tell me it's not easy being a developer and planning this stuff? It's all switches and stuff, right? They just have to flip the like they could release it now. They just gotta flick the switch, right? That's how developing works, right?
Oh, I wish it was that easy. Oh
I like
boy.
how for your own like your own since you do develop, you're like, I'm not even gonna jokingly agree to that. Like you're like, no, you
Yeah,
just have to will it. Yeah, that's
just have to feel it. Oh, guys, if my life was that easy, oh, be nice. Sadly,
But
it's not.
any final thoughts on the season or the episode 5? And like I said, we'll speculate about it at the end of the show. But like kind of just the stuff that they told us we are getting.
I think that's it for now. Cool last little drop before the holidays, so that's pretty
Yeah, they
good.
snuck that in there. I was sure. I was like, well, we're just gonna have Winter's Day for the rest of the year, and then it's like, boom, miss. I'm like, wait, what? Oh,
Yeah. So now I know I need to farm, so that's good.
but yeah, like we're talking about, looking to the beginning of next year. Arena this past week kind of encapsulated all of this current year, 2018, as they put out a blog post of kind of a 2018 roundup, and they kind of put out a list of like basically all the events, all the even promotional things. Like they started off with the friendships event thing that we've talked about. When it was happening. They talk about the different living story or living world episodes as they're releasing the real life Griffin statue from PAX East. The little tweaks, like we talked about the unlimited gathering tools change and how the glyph upgrade components. And like, yeah, as I'm going through this, like I'm not gonna go through each part of the list because it is a
A
pretty good
long
list.
list.
It's
Yeah.
um, but like I even got to the unlimited gathering tools thing, the change in the glyph upgrade components, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was this year. Like it's one of those things. Like it was great when it hit, and then it's like it felt like it was always there. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that was a new thing. The ability to
It's
sit in chairs and
it's kind of cool when like they list out all the things that this year's like they were really busy this year, and it's like, and then he kind of made me think like, oh, like the past couple of years they've always been doing this type of thing, like they've been really busy. So it's just having a list literally just right in front of you is crazy. So
yeah, it really puts in perspective because yeah, you think over the year it's like, oh, maybe some people are thinking like, oh, they didn't do too much stuff, but when you see it, it's like, oh wow, that is you know a
yeah.
pretty good amount of stuff. And like I said, some of it's the social aspect of like, them going to PAX East or, uh, going to San Diego Comic Con. But I think it's all.
Yeah. And like ArenaNet's one of those companies that they actually like they actually do a really good job in terms of their social, their community wide uh, events, and as well as in game stuff in terms of fixing things like relative to other games right now. So, oh, that's my dryer. Um, but it's I'm really happy that Arena's doing a great job, and it's cool to be part of this community that we always have like ups and downs, obviously, but for more or less, I think compared to other gaming communities, we actually do pretty well, and we do have a lot of things going on, which is pretty good. Pretty good.
I mean, I kind of want to like add a bullet in there because they have stuff like they got the 14 new guild emblem designs by the Guild Wars 2 creative partners. Somewhere in there, it should be like Talking Skritt had episode 200. Like, come on, Arena.
And there are other things like the ArenaNet helped out with like the Tyrion Tarot thing. There's a Guild Mag thing, Winter's Day Zion, things like that. I believe there's probably something else.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That's not even listed here. So that's a couple of the other social or community driven things. So
yeah, so it's pretty cool. And there are other events like the community has done, like Teapots Race tournaments, things like that. So Deroyer's Beetle Racing events as well.
Talking Skritt 200.
Talking Skritt 200. But yeah, it's nice to see. So.
Yeah, it's like I said, I think it's awesome to see it as a list. I mean, and I don't know if Chad has any favorite moments, or if you're watching this on YouTube, if you have a favorite moment of 2018, let us know. Share, and maybe someone else will be like, "Oh yeah, that was a great moment." But any other thoughts on the 2018 roundup?
Not too
shabby. The nice thing is, in that blog post, for some of the things that actually have a teaser video or something, they actually put it in there as well, so you can actually also go down memory lane of like, oh yeah, I remember the teaser trailer for episode 2, or so it's definitely worth checking out if you kind of want to reminisce.
Yeah, I listen to that one just for the song alone. So I'm like,
oh yeah, oh now I gotta go back to that one. Yeah, that one was so good and creepy.
Yeah.
But a lot of stuff in 2018. Hopefully, just as much, maybe more in 2019. And if you got the skills to pay the bills, maybe you can be part of that. Well, they actually have a new listing for a narrative designer, and they put out the job listing, and we'll throw it in there. And if you are interested in it, like we always talked about with the guild chats, guild chat stuff, where it's like, oh, if you want to get into the industry and that's the stuff that intrigues you, if you are qualified and capable, definitely, and in the area, of course, definitely check it out, because I wouldn't necessarily recommend moving there for this job, just because it is a 6-month contract. It's not a permanent type thing. I think Bobby Stein did clarify that's their estimate on how long this particular task that this person will be doing is. They think it's going to last. If it does last longer, they could extend the contract type of thing. But yeah, don't think this is like, oh, they're just going to hire me on or anything like that. I wouldn't recommend taking that risk, but in the end, that's totally up to you, the person.
Have a plan at least.
Yes.
After 6 months,
have a backup plan.
Yeah. Damn, I kind of want this job.
Well, there you go.
I want to, because it says like the mid-level position will drive and/or assist in the creation and development of story and character arcs in collaboration with other disciplines. I want to drive the story. That sounds fun. It really does.
Age, if you get that, you gotta let me know. I'll be like, so Age, when you put an Abaddon in,
That's what Dayo would do. That's what Dayo would do if he got that job.
Oh, day one, I'll be like, so how are we putting Abaddon in?
It's like end of season, Abaddon comes in,
and then they'll
massive
say,
cliffhanger.
"Oh, well, he's already going to be in it," and blah blah blah. And I'm like, "Oh my god, I knew it." Does the job description say don't attack the customers?
uh, we had to go there. Um,
Let me see. I don't see it in there, but
I feel like that's just
honestly, I was waiting for someone to bring that up during the 2018 Roundup. So, but this is more fitting.
yeah.
But yeah, it does not have that listed there. Usually that might be expected, but
Yeah.
let's not go down that road. 'Tis the season, right?
Is the season.
Um,
Oh, write in-game dialogue setting or adopting established tones and distinct character voices. I played the stories. I understand the characters. I'm perfect for this job. As long as I live there.
it just reminds me. It just reminds me of that like WoW Krendor video where it's like he has like the fans write the story for the next expansion or something. And they're like yeah, and like everybody's on it riding a dragon and dragons are on dragons and everybody's shooting fire. It's I just imagine that's like what you're.
Yeah. Wait, Aaron lives in Seattle. I think Kit does too.
Yeah, I believe so.
They should totally go for it. Oh, imagine Aaron. Oh, that'd be great.
He'd
I could
remove like
imagine.
half the great swords and be like, these need to be better. It's like that has nothing to do with narrative. It does for me.
It tracks in there. That'd be amazing. I think he honestly would do a good job though. And Kit like literally has experience creating narrative for Kit the Traveler, so
That is a good point. She does constantly, yeah. Well, hopefully hopefully they apply if they do meet the qualifications. I mean, and I think that's the one thing I always hate, like kind of bringing some of this stuff up because, like I've heard this sometimes, like in like the WoW community of like people are like, I'm a fan. It's like, please make sure you're qualified. Don't like lump them down with like, yeah, I played the game for 6 years. Oh yeah, I don't have any experience in like narrative, like any of it. It's like.
yeah.
Like I've always seen that with like programmers for like WoW. It's like, yeah, I played the game. It's like, no, that's not one of the requirements. Like that's nowhere in there. Did you go to school or do you have any kind of experience? Like, please don't do that to them.
I don't have the official experience, sadly. I just have my own narrative stories. But
yeah, definitely.
Actually, that does count, but it's not like official game.
It doesn't have as much weight. That's usually tends to be the problem.
Unless it's really good.
True. I mean, yeah, if you become a successful writer on your own, I'm sure they're not gonna be like, oh, you self-published? Pff, that's not real published. Like, which my response to them would be like, oh, you made your own game? Well, that's not making a game. Pff. If you do something on your own, but yeah, if you have your own like little like, oh, I made these things on like I have like a ton of Word documents. Like, yeah, post them somewhere, get them out there. Like what you were saying about Kit does her thing. Like, that's something that you can see and it's done consistently.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the important things. If you are interested in the industry, maybe you don't necessarily need the formal education sometimes, but you do have to put your stuff out there like a portfolio so people can see it. I mean. You can't just say like, oh yeah, I have like 8 years of past like fiction, like fan fiction stuff that I've written on my computer. It's like, well, that's great. How like no one's ever seen it or had responses back to it or so.
Exactly. So.
Put your stuff out there. But yeah, definitely check that out. Also, interesting news in kind of the ArenaNet staffing front. Heather Conover actually tweeted out the beginning of next year she will be the lead game designer on open world. So
nice.
Congratulations to her. Yeah, exactly. Awesome job, and can't wait to see some of the open world stuff. Put Abaddon in. It's a surefire way. They'll be like, you just did the greatest thing ever. Everybody will love you. There you go. Right? That's all you need to do. Put Abaddon in.
I think I do remember seeing that tweet. Wow.
If you need to figure out a way to stick Abaddon in the story somehow, get in contact with me. I could make some loopholes and with the lore, and we'll get Abaddon in there. Sure enough,
Mm,
it's one of my skills.
it really is. It's a talent.
I was gonna say, can I be the narrative designer? And be like, I've put an Abaddon in every lore bit ever. Like, if you need that, Arena, I'm your guy.
Oh yeah. It's like we're gonna go back to Siren's Landing. We're gonna focus on that Abaddon statue, and we're going to expand the area, and somehow we will lead back to Alona.
But they gave you a deadly statue in POF, which just means he's back. His power is still resonating through there.
Oh really? Where's
Yeah, I
that?
thought. Well,
In Path of Fire?
isn't there the one with the basket on his head? Or oh no, that was Balthazar.
I don't remember an Abaddon. Maybe which map was that in?
I'm starting to try to remember because
I
originally I
remember
was thinking
Siren's
of
Landing, obviously, but I'm kind
but
of curious.
nonetheless, we're kind of like, yeah, we're kind of diverging away. But yeah, once again, congratulations to Heather Conover for
That's
getting the promotion and stuff. Awesome, and maybe you'll get the narrative designer position if you're qualified. But uh, yeah, I like Lemon Lore's thinking. There is one in the I was gonna say the prior one I thought of the achievement to visit all the statues and you can dance before the Abaddon one. Oh, Riverlands map, they believe.
okay. Do, do.
But hey, maybe you got this. Maybe you got the narrative designer job. We're fast forwarding here. You got a narrative design job. You're good for that 6 months. You're making that money. How you gonna spend that money? In the gem store. It's
Well,
like
I thought
it's like you're
food,
giving back to
water, and
yourself. Well, yeah, you do that stuff first.
shelter.
That way you can continually buy stuff from the gem store. And gotta take care of yourself so you can keep spending in the gem store. But as always, thank you to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. First up, we have the Gem Aura outfit. And you can get that for 700 gems. It is an outfit, so it is all or nothing. You can hide the helmet. You can kind of see it rotating through here. Chat, what do you guys think? And yeah, well, we're waiting for chat. So what are your thoughts on the outfit?
It's like a Mesmer outfit, but with like super shiny at the top on the shoulder.
It has crystals on. Are we gonna get corrupted Mesmers in the next thing? Like, I didn't even think about the Mesmer aspect, but
Yeah, I thought it was like a winter's. It was a new Winter's Day outfit, pretty much. But, huh?
good except for the shiny parts. So,
It, I think it's very loud on the shoulder pieces. That kind of doesn't complement the rest of the outfit because it's like, simple, elegant, and then like bam, shiny, right here. So,
yeah.
like on the Asura, it looks a little bit better, to be honest.
And it seems like chat's kind of saying the same thing. They like the outfit like the actual clothing part of it, but it's like the crystals that are just
I
kind
think
of
it's just too much.
overtake. Yeah.
They reduce the crystals a little bit because, like on Asura, it looks a little bit better because their shoulders are like a little bit smaller, so it kind of just pads into the top part and a little bit on the side.
Oh, you mean you don't like the male Norn one where they're showing off? It's like literally like gigantic shoulders. Like,
It seems like it takes away from Silveri doesn't look too bad either, but it seems like it takes away from every other race because it just there's a lot more going on, and it kind of just takes away from the core of the outfit as well.
and I'm kind of seeing like kind of like what chat's saying. I kind of saw it like throughout the whole play, like the internet saying like they kind of like the actual clothing part of it. It's just it seems like the crystal parts a little over the top.
Yeah, because like if you look at an Asura, it doesn't look as bad because it's not as loud.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
that
like
could very well be
the.
the dye job because, like you said, the you like the Silvari one. Granted, the shoulders were smaller, but it
Yeah,
very much was led into like because the Silvari one had like the green
yeah, maybe
outfit
like
with like the green crystal, so maybe that helps lessen it.
a
But
tamer dye.
yeah,
Yeah. Maybe I guess so too. I also didn't realize there are crystals at the bottom of the feet there too. Um, hmm. I don't know. It seems like it's interesting how they use the crystals. I think that's because it seems like they're missing crystals like halfway. It, it, mm, it's hard to put my finger on it.
Proud Couture has corrupted our clothing,
Hmm.
just the clothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
The crystals really throw me off.
Chad,
That's
Chad
that.
does sum it up pretty nicely. What you're saying is like you like on the Asuran, and they said so. The best version is the one you can't really see. Ouch.
No, that is
That's
not what I'm saying. Wow. I'm
though
just
it is
saying.
true. I mean, a certain
No, I can
tends to
still see
hard.
the
It's hard
crystals,
to see the
obviously.
detail.
No, I'm not saying that. It's because the on the Asuras, the crystals are smaller, but it's like enough on the shoulders, so it's tamer. Or maybe like the Solari right here, the female Solari has a better like dye job on it, so the crystals are a little bit tamer, so they don't like pop as much, and it complements the outfit a bit more. Whereas maybe some of the other dye jobs, it pops out a lot more. And maybe it's okay for like white on black if that's your preference, but to me, it pops a little too much. That's all. That's my opinion.
No, I agree with you, and I think most of the internet probably agrees with you that it's just it feels like it missed the mark.
I think it's a good outfit. I think it's just a little bit less on the crystals on the shoulders would do it.
No, I agree. Like I said, I like the style of the actual like suit or whatever you want to call it. It's
Mm.
just if for some reason it's just like all of a sudden they then went with like crystal pauldrons, like just shoulder
Yeah,
pieces. Like it's like
honestly, it could be like a superhero outfit.
oh, and Chad's saying so many people have it too. That's actually surprising. I mean
I mean, it's
I think
yeah,
the female
people like it.
Norn one looks pretty nice, but I think that's the dye job of the contrast of it was like the black or really dark black color, and then it was like the white crystal. That
Yeah.
kind of worked, but I don't know. It's like,
Hmm.
but also in the gem store is the Cryomancer glider, and that is for 500 gems. And we've had a couple like this. I've seen a lot of people make the say that it's kind of a reskin of
That is
uh,
sick.
the note one, like the notes that are flying off. I forget what it was called. But I really do like that. It's
That is awesome.
basically anybody can be Iceman in
Yes.
Guild Wars 2.
How much is that again? 500. I'm
500
probably gonna get.
gems.
I will probably get that. That's too good to pass up. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is really nicely done.
I have an ice space character. I need to make an ice space character.
There we go. Now he's gonna have a. Do you have Frostfang?
No.
Now he has a reason to make Frostfang. Here we go.
Yeah, I'll make that. Are there any ice space legendaries besides Frostbite?
I don't
I don't
believe
think
so.
so. I guess I'll wheel two Frostwings. That's fine.
I think we
Uh,
talk about this every once in a while. Like Chad saying they would have bought that during Hop, but they used the Griffin too much to buy any more gliders. I think, and we're not sure about that new mastery. I know a lot of people are like we were insinuating earlier, but gliders still have a place where you kind of use them as more of a getaway than the griffin itself.
Yeah, I still like using my glider. I use glider into Griffin sometimes, most of the time.
Yeah, because I don't think the griffin you can you can't mount it in combat. You can do it while you're falling or in midair, but not while you're in combat. Which the glider you can, no matter what. So that's why it still has that, I guess, at least boon to that. But
Oh yeah, that's a great point. I'll make. I have that Iron Beast great sword, so I'll combine it with Frostbite. I have to make like a
oh,
metal ice character, char character. That's gonna be
we'll
hard.
get that outfit dyed blue so it looks like ice crystals.
I was thinking of maybe using the Zodiac armor. That might work a little.
Hmm. But
Huh.
I mean, if you do consider getting the outfit and you want the glider, you can actually get them together. They actually put out a gem aura appearance package for 2,000 gems, which, as you saw before, has the gem aura outfit. This cryomancer glider also has a choice of onyx and gold line weapon choice, one total makeover kit, and 5 Jormag die kits, which I'm pretty sure those are, once again, they're not the guaranteed ones. It's basically a random chance between the couple specific ones from that set and then the generic ones that you can get by just unidentified dies, which don't buy this for the Jormag die kits is pretty much. I think everybody knows our feelings on die kits in general, as long as they're not the birthday ones, because those
The
ones you can actually
onyx and
pick.
yeah, the onyx and gold weapons are pretty good though. So
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you are a fan and want those, like the Total Makeover kit, those can be handy. Like Age of Sand, the Onyx and Gold line weapon choices is pretty nice. But if you are interested in the outfit and also the glider, definitely you can pick it up for 2,000 gems and save a little bit. Yeah, like Chad is saying, die kits are pretty much bad gambling. Um, but yeah, you can pick that up for 2,000 gems. Also, they gave us another chair, one that is holiday themed, and that is the candy cane chair. Kind of see it displayed here throughout all the characters.
mm,
I mean, it's definitely Winter's Day themed, so
yeah,
I don't
I
know.
remember Kate was waiting for one of these, so I think she got this one.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, I was gonna say it. I think that's the problem, at least for me, is would I be using this outside of Winter's Day or a snowy area?
I mean, it's kind of the same with any hollow like
Yeah, with any
festival
holiday
thing.
item. Yeah.
So like Halloween, holidays type of thing. Like you would pop it on during holidays, but some of them like work on non-holidays. This one kind of looks like you're just waiting for a bus, to be honest. But
I gotta take all these presents to my holiday party. God dang
yeah,
it. I should have had a car.
yeah. It's not bad. I kind of like the candy cane street light there.
Please tell
Uh,
me there is an idle animation, and since it's a candy cane street light, I want an idle animation of each character trying to lick it and their tongue getting stuck to the pole. Like,
Great.
if it isn't, please ArenaNet patch it in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all right.
it's exactly what it is. It's a particular festival chair type.
Yeah. Wait,
I
what's the
mean,
rock?
if you want your character to be kind of Winter's Day all year round, perfect for you. Otherwise, you're probably gonna stick to using it in certain situations.
Is that a rocking horse, but like a boar? Because we don't have horses in Guild Wars 2.
I
Which
think so.
boggled my mind the first time I ever thought about that. I don't have horses in this game. Crazy. It's crazy. All right. Um,
But I think I already know the answer to this. Out of the new things, what would you? Or is there something that you would be like? People should definitely get it if
for
like that you
this,
would recommend.
for the current gem store, I would say the Cryomancer glider is pretty solid, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. I was gonna say out of that stuff. I mean, like I said, if you want a festival chair, sure. But for me, yeah, I really like that. But part of me is like, I don't. A lot of my characters are like, oh no, I could use it on my. Oh no, I'm justifying it. Because I was gonna say my Ellie, I like kind of has like a snowy type thing to that. And that would
I'll
be
just throw in a
perfect.
character slot, and then I'm good. There you go. I need to make a new character anyway, so
Oh boy, why running out of legendary space?
I actually do need another character so I can do map completion, so I can
Oh
have more uh like hot things for.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I need more characters for legendaries.
So some returning stuff. The cozy winter mounts for 1,600 gems, which is 20% off. The Winter's Day Wreath backpack for 350 gems, which is 30% off. The Freezy crown for 350 gems. Ice encasement outfit for 700 gems. White wing glider combo for 525 gems, which is 25% off. The mini frozen tick tick for 280 gems, which is 30% off. The stag helm for 300 gems, which is another 40% off. So, any of those returning items that you would recommend? And I don't know,
I
is there
like the
something in
white
chat?
wings. The white wings are pretty good. They're like angel wings, basically. So,
Mm-hmm.
uh, da, 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 da. Winter's Day Wreath backpack if you want to be festive. If you absolutely want skins for your mounts and you like the winter mounts, I guess go for them because I personally think packs like that are worth 1,600 gems around that ballpark. So if you do like them, go for them. And the stag helm's pretty good.
I would say I think I like the stag helm. Like the antlers can be a bit much at sometimes, but I don't know. For a Norn, you can make it work, but I just like the helmet of it too. It's like
Mm-hmm.
really a solid looking thing.
Yeah,
Oh, and chat saying the winter mounts are way too
yeah.
niche. Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if you absolutely like them.
yeah, because don't they have like the little festive hats? I think that was my
Yeah.
problem with them originally. Was like you can't really dye the Winter's Day off of it like the original mount Halloween mount skins were. Is it?
You can't dye the Winter's Day off of it. That's
Yeah, which you know, which
well,
that's a problem for me because like I said, I the same thing I had with the new chair. It's like, what am I gonna do outside of Winter's Day?
it always be Winter's Day, Dayo.
I'm not. I was just gonna say I'm not one of those people where it's like it's Christmas every day. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I'd be broke.
uh, not what else can you in many ways. Yeah. I bought the only pack I bought, and I probably will never buy any other pack because I'm satisfied with the one I got. Is the tech one there with the holographic pieces, armor pieces on it. I really like that one. And I have only bought two legendary. Well, actually, I bought one legendary one because I bought the Spirit Fox just because it reminded me of Okami type of thing, and I just had to have it. And I had the Gecko one from the Black Lion chips. So
Mm. For me, I like the legendary or not the legendary. Wow, the crystal like the crystal corrupted ones, just because you could kind of dye them, and the nice thing about it is like yeah, you could kind of get away with like them just being the different kind of corruptions the way you dye the thing. Like at least eat. I know lore wise, it's like the undead one. It's like well, you know, and the kind of Morgemoth one, it wouldn't really work. Being have it's like, why they have green crystals? Maybe now so with how everything's crisscrossing. But like at least with that one, it's like if you dye kind of like blue or something, you could probably get away with like the ice one, like kind of Jormag style, because it's probably a lot of their minions are kind of just have ice caked on them, and naturally the crystal. But I think it especially works with the way my Revenant is of having kind of like the glint kind of a thing. But yeah, the Brandon ones, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty. I think they're a pretty good solid one. If you're trying to keep the fantasy kind of a thing, because like you said, the ones that are more mechanical, if that's your style of character, they are very versatile in the sense of dying.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I like cyberpunk. If I can live in that type of dystopia, I probably would.
what dystopia would you want to live in? Just a perfect question, just in time for the holidays.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dystopia would be Christmas every day.
uh,
Oh, I'm sure a lot of you are waiting for that, chat. A dragon skin for the Griffin, which I'm really hoping they
the Oreen one. People want
I
to.
think a lot of people are thinking possibly the Aurene one. But that is it for Gem Store. And like we said, since we really didn't have a community corner, we're probably going to use this spot to maybe even speculate on where the store is going to go. So if for whatever reason, when you're watching this, we are going to be going kind of, you know, spoilers enabled type thing, like all the way up until we've had plenty of time. We're not going to throw up the spoiler tag or anything like that. This is kind of just the little warning here. If you are trying to avoid it for whatever reason, this is your moment to get out while you can and come back when you're maybe leading up to episode 5. But yeah, so we're going to Thunderhead Peaks, which is the same area as Thunderhead Keep in Guild Wars 1. I kind of was ruminating with like a bit of a theory. I wonder what chat's been thinking of. I know was it Lemon Lore was talking a couple things, which I really hope we see some notice of dwarves or anything like that, like the dwarven history, because I think the most interesting thing is maybe even some stuff that relates back to I'm finally done with things from the last living world. Nice. So you're all caught up. One of the interesting things that we could get like a little touch about information about maybe even the humans is the guy that killed Rorik, Prince Rorik in Guild Wars 1. We actually officially kill him in this one. In where this takes place, we actually have to fight Dagnar's it's Dagnar Stone something, stone plate.
Ragnar Stone plates, apparently.
But and there could be that interesting thing of here. Let me see if I can. Okay, so it's Dagnar Stone Pate. I was gonna say I knew he was related to Jalus, which was kind of the leader of the other dwarves. So the ghost of his Drake mount can be found in Lorna's Pass. Well, I was gonna say it might not even have to be. Well, I guess it will be a ghost in some sense, but what if there's the other interesting thing that's happening is since Kralka has been messing around with time and space dimension stuff, where he's been bringing kind of like sentient ghosts, like we saw with air and all that stuff, and as we're traveling, like Clint was helping us. What if in this zone we're actually seeing sentient like Dagnar, Jalus, all that stuff, maybe even ghostly Mersat type things, or because he's manipulating the dimensions or whatever, like whatever he was doing in the last map.
It seemed like the problem was that the mist was being combined with our realm of Tyria, from what I understood.
Yeah.
So spirits from the mist will could cross over potentially. So I can see very well the possibility of anything surrounding, the history of Thunderhead Keep, or any of our characters involved, I think could potentially pop up in that new story. So yeah, I think it's very feasible.
Okay, yeah, and I guess that's what Tavik is basically saying is the ghosts were just using Krakator's rift. So that would be interesting if we had Dagnar come back as like a, type of revenge because, you know, they basically lost the Civil War. It's like he's probably pretty angry about that. And
Mm-hmm. I mean, or Sot Ghost maybe. Uh, it's very possible. I wonder if it's like a we left our realm incomplete type of deal that we have going on. Um, and that could depend on, because that would ensure like dwarves definitely come back, because I feel like they still have that war with Primoris going on, so that's a potential issue. And there's what was the faction of Stone Summit dwarves?
Stone Summit were the enemy dwarves.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll have any of those lying around, uh,
I would
potentially.
like to see some like if we don't see like any from this like Rift Spirit thing, but see like some history because we had some people in like what's his face uh what the what who's the dwarf that's still kicking around
Ogden?
Ogden. I want to say I was gonna say like Drognar, but I was like I think I'm mixing that up with this guy.
Hmm.
um but they talk about how they fought off, like they didn't go through the rites of the great dwarf until later, and then eventually everybody had to. I'd kind of like to see like text about the Stone Summit that it sounds like eventually every dwarf was forced to. I would like to even see
Hmm.
like some of the Stone Summit being like, I don't want like kind of want this, or like kind of trying to resist this, you know, taking over of their very being, especially if they didn't agree with the Delgamore dwarves' way of thinking. But we just get attacked by all the Skritt we murdered.
Hmm. Mods and monk strike.
Oh, that would be interesting if they put a nod in, like a little like a little Easter egg of Guild Wars 1. Though granted, monk strikes that was kind of throughout. That's in every game. The healer
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. I think, uh, my major concern is not necessarily the like Thunder's Keep fighting all the spirits and stuff. My main concern is Krokotort, in terms of how are we going to kill him, and what are the effects of killing him? Like, what is the game plan? Because in the
Yeah, it's like
trailer we
wasn't
just
in the expansion we were finding out this isn't a good idea. Like,
yeah.
so why are we doing it now? Like,
Yeah. Is it because we're actually going to like funnel that magic somewhere else, or is it going to be Aurene? Like what is the deal? What is the plan there?
we're gonna
And
give it to
speaking of,
Logan.
we have to actually like find her again and stuff
That's
like
why
that.
Logan came back. We're just gonna funnel it into Logan.
Yeah. So, uh, it's that's why I'm really confused and interested, because one, that is a giant ass dragon,
Yeah.
and it has a lot of magical power, so much that it literally corrupts anything near it. And yeah, and second of all, and this is kind of where the title All or Nothing comes in as well for me, because
Mm-hmm.
like it's either we kill this dragon or we all die, or is it we kill this dragon and we potentially all that. Like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Well, and it can go
Yeah.
back to now that Ogden is back in the picture. Remember when he was talking about the all and like every race kind of has a piece of the puzzle, but it's like kind of all of the stuff. And how he talks about if the balance gets thrown off, everything just basically tilts and slips into like like nothingness. Like
Mhm.
it could also be a reference to that, like all or nothing, like kind of like what even chat's saying, like we got to figure out how to preserve this but also not have us die in the process. It's
Yeah.
like otherwise all or nothing, like literally everything's gonna slip into the void or the whatever you want to
Mm-hmm.
spin
So
out of whack. But go ahead.
Mithrin said we have Cloud Katork's replacement. Is that Aurene or and
I guess that would probably be the most likely option just because she is from kind of the descendant like of one of the
yeah,
generals, so she's probably already
yes,
attuned to that kind of corruption.
Crystal Dragon. It makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, my question, like, and then we have the foreshadowing epilepsy thing that happened in the previous episode where we had
Oh, the different
Infinity War
versions.
moment where we saw like every single possibility flash before our eyes and they all end in failure except the one possible one. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Um,
chat's saying
oh
Aaron
yeah,
Staff said that in episode 4 that
I was half tired during the episode. I can't remember all of it sadly. Um, last one I failed because he didn't have a champion. Um, I wish we explored the last more. Anyway, make empathetic connection to the rest of the so shares magic. I should have just did. Okay, there you go. Tafik's up to date. So in that case, um, what's that 1 out of 1,000,000 thing that we have to do? I guess
yeah.
that's my question at that point.
Now, well, I guess do you think we're going to defeat Kralkatorrik by not by the end of this episode, but if it wraps up in episode 6, do you think we're going to be defeating Kralkatorrik by the end of next episode? Or whatever the plan rolls out. Maybe we decide to not defeat him and transfer the power or whatever you want to call it. Basically deal with the issue.
I don't. I think episode 5 won't be dealing with Kralkatorrik at all. I think it'll be set up to defeat Kralkatorrik, and episode 6 will focus mainly on that. But
Or do you think the next season that they've already promised we're going to have another season before the next expansion, do you think that's going to be the whole season's going to be revolving around maybe taking down Kralkatorrik for whatever the next
this is
expansion is?
assuming we have 6 episodes, right?
Very true. Yes, because I think it wasn't around episode 3 where they said we were halfway through, so people were thinking that means
Yeah.
6 episodes, but it could be more. It's
I think they might even throw in episode 7 if they need to. But uh, it's So uh, I think in episode 6, we're gonna fight Kralkatorrik, and like the end result will happen. And I feel like there's just gonna be this huge cliffhanger because I don't see how they can fit it. Because I think episode 5 will be the setup to fight Kralkatorrik, and then episode 6 will focus purely on the fight with Kralkatorrik, and then either episode 7 or next season will be kind of dealing with the aftermath of whatever happens.
yeah. And I do agree that should be a journey eventually, Mithrin, is if we defeat Kralkatorrik or transfer the power, however you want to, deal with it. I think the rest, there should be a portion where we're venturing out to find the other entities that are able to replace the dragons or
Yeah. Huh. I wonder if
but
it's like people you already know.
now see, I'm wondering, this is kind of like my weird Hail Mary out there kind
Oh,
of.
oh, I know where he's going. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, you do?
Maybe go.
I don't know. This is so I was wondering, I was like, why are we going to back to like basically Thunderhead Keep? And we were fighting the Mersat there and all that stuff, and but one of the interesting things that got me thinking was I was looking at the quest thing and some of the mission and some of the dialogue, and we still talk to Vizier Kilbron, and he talks about the Flameseeker prophecies, and what kind of got me thinking was, and he talks about how this was written in the Flameseeker prophecies. An opening will be given to the disciples of the unseen, which that could be, at the time in Guild Wars 1, the unseen were known as, or the Mersat were also known as the unseen ones.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was also something else called the unseen, which was literally called the unseen, not the unseen ones.
Mm-hmm.
We found out about it in, I looked it up, Nightfall, with the whole Abaddon thing.
Right.
There was something literally called the unseen. Well, you're very right, Mithrin. According to Vizier Kilbron, that is the disciples of the unseen refers to the white mantle. But the problem with prophecies, they keep it so vague that it could mean other things if they meet up the criteria. Hence, in real life, why Nostradamus is quoted every time there's an apocalyptic thing. And it's always the same one, the same verse or whatever. But I think this is an important thing to, because I always said they kind of played it up with the dragons, how the dragons are a cycle with the possibly the gods or whatever comes in between them, but the dragons are a cycle. Even when we thought we stopped Primordius by defeating the champion, the Great Destroyer, they even show that things happen in a circle or a cycle type thing, because there's a dialogue I remember talking about it where they're like, oh, we're seeing similar things in like Or referencing Zaitan, and they're like, oh, we'll have to like figure that out, and I guess we messed that one up because he popped up. But it's interesting that apparently the line is, an opening will be given to the disciples of the unseen. Well, like I said, there was another unseen, and this was the unseen. The unseen is a powerful demon that a group of portal wraiths attempt to summon, which the portal wraiths at the time were minions of Abaddon, but the goal was to Abaddon was to ally with the unseen and basically break free of his bonds. And no, this isn't me trying to say we're bringing back Abaddon. Well, it would be great. You could do it here, maybe, if you wanted to, but if Kralkator can slip through the mist, how do we know he can't slip to the other dimensions that the other gods had before they left? Also, Abaddon's lair, or what I guess now it's Cormier's, which is where they were doing the ritual to break free the unseen guy. Is this unseen wherever he's contained? Is it not accessible by Kralkator? Like, what if Kralkator's trying to find a way to get to this powerful demon now that he can go through time and space? And what do dragons like to do? Consume as much power as possible. What if he's trying to find this unseen demon? And, like I said, the prophecy, all it says is an opening will be given to the disciples of the unseen. It's vague enough that it could mean both instances. And once again, like Guild Wars 1 and 2 like to do, kind of show that things can happen in cycles or have multiple meanings. It was a one little quest. It was I can actually link it here for you. It was the quest was the last patrol. But you go out to stop these demons that are, or these race that are trying to open or summon the unseen.
This is in Nightfall. This quest.
Yes, it was in the realm of torment.
Oh,
Like I said, it was one of the side quests. It wasn't anything.
yeah. I'm trying to remember if I did it. I may have done it.
But leading up to it, because it is the realm of torment. How was one of the ways that they could have got into the realm was through the door of Kamali, which is one thing that's what Vizier Kilbron was trying to get them to do. But what if there's a port or something that they're trying to open up here that maybe takes us, to passage back to the Ring of Fire to maybe open the door of Kamali or something like that. Well, the unseen has nothing to do with the Mersat, but what I'm saying is the prophecy just refers to the unseen. The Mersat were the unseen ones. They weren't actually like I said, the prophecy is so vague. And even when you look up about the Flameseeker prophecies, they even say that like Vizier Kilbron and all those other people, like hold on, I think I have it here. The exact wording of the prophecies is unknown. Glint seems to be the only one fully aware of it, which later on, not even so. Though the White Mantle, through the Mersat, Vizier Kilbron, Tarai Asa, and Mirak the Shouter seem to know at least some of it as well. So Vizier Kilbron, he was fulfilling a prophecy that he didn't even have full knowledge of. Like, he tells us that it was the Mersat, but it's just from his perspective. But I think it's important to say, because the Flameseeker prophecies was supposed to be the idea of the fall, well, actually the survival of humans in the face of great and terrible events that would engulf their world. But even I think at the end, let me see, I think it's when you talk to Glint, vision of Glint in Draknar's Forge, post Hell's Precipice. Your escape from the volcano's caldera was no accident. Everything as unfold as I knew it would. The Flameseeker prophecies have been fulfilled, at least in that aspect. But the problem is she kind of contradicts herself. The evil machinations of Vizier Kilbron have been put to an end, but a threat still remains. The Titans, the Lich released upon the world, are causing more trouble than ever, or more trouble than even I could have foreseen. So she can't even predict within her own prophecy. So, the world is not safe. You still have work to do.
The Titans are different from Abaddon, though.
Well, the Titans are failed creations, I believe, of Abaddon's. Like, they came from his, I think they came from the Forge, or not the Forge, the Foundry of Failed Creations, I believe. But
okay,
you're right, that all refers to Abaddon, but also Abaddon was trying to ally himself with this unseen demon that is super powerful, which, like I said, would be such a tasty treat for an elder dragon. And if it can slip through time and space, maybe it has a back door into it, or maybe accidentally released it.
So you're saying that Krakatork wants to eat this unforeseen demon?
I think so.
How does my question is, how does this dragon know of this unforeseen's existence?
Well, and that's why I'm saying, how is this thing locked away is my biggest question. Because all we know is there's a summoning, like the things are summoning this unseen. Is it locked away in some kind of dimension? Which, if that's the case, now that Krakatork has the power to slip through the mists And if it can slip through the mist and our realm, why can't it slip through the realm of torment, the realm of, you know, all the other gods,
Mhm.
the fissure of woe and stuff like that, and the underworld? But where like, can it potentially slip into maybe this small dimension that this thing exists? Like maybe it senses through time and space. Like I don't know. I don't know how Krakator's like abilities for its hunger has developed. That's my question. Is
Mhm. Hmm. Thinking about it.
and like Mithrin saying the mists are large, but it's not like you can go anywhere from anywhere. The gods could move away, meaning there's some sort of vicinity to each reality within the mist. Well, I mean, but we are dealing with a flying entity, and if it could theoretically fly over this stuff, I mean, does it does it have? I don't know. Does it have any boundaries that it could theoretically just fly to the next area that's in the vicinity of one of those realms? And like I said, wherever this demon's, is it outside of these dimensions? I don't know. That's why I'm wondering. And if Crow could, like, because that's the thing, is Kraukatork and all of them, they can kind of sense the thing in Tyria, which was their only plane of existence. That's why I'm questioning, now that Kraukatork can move in and out of the mist and possibly other dimensions, does it now have the ability to sense powers in these other realms, which might mean that it's interested in that, and that might be the access point for which it can, try to get to it. Like I said, this is a Hail Mary far shot in the. But when I was thinking, I was like, yeah, there's the unseen, which up to this point referred to the Mersad. But what if there's more to it?
Um, the way it works is that, like, if indeed Krakatorik's new consumption of power allows Krakatork to like slip through different realms and dimensions, it'd be interesting. But I think that's how we will get rid of him from our realm. But it's interesting at the same time. It's like, if a being could do that, because from what I understood, these primordial dragons are just going off of instinct, just constantly hungry for magical power, and they're just literally consuming magic over magic. And then this rift opens, and if there is indeed a stronger, more powerful magic to be consumed, then yeah, I would imagine a dragon would go for it. But I don't think it would be just as easy as just like slipping into a different dimension and just trying to find this unforeseen per se, just because the gods have been around for a long time and they have never really been attacked. I wouldn't necessarily say even, yeah, no, I will say, like, the gods have never really been attacked at all, period, by an old dragon, from what I understand. Only when Balthazar was defeated and weakened that Krakatork swept in and absorbed his magic. So would the unforeseen have to be in the same state? Because I think the a more problematic situation is, if your theory stands, is that the unforeseen fights Krakatork and then just messes up an entire like whatever realm that unforeseen is in our realm, just because of the mass amount of magic that fight would contain.
Yeah, I
Because that would be problematic. I'm just spitballing off of Dayo's theory. I'm,
Magnus is saying, didn't Joko watch Kralkator grow up? I think he references that he has been around a long time, and I think he did say he has seen the cycles, but I don't think he's elaborated on anything else besides that.
yeah. Well, Mithrin, what I mean by instinct is just like how animals are. Like if an animal's hungry, they're just gonna eat, type of thing, right? And I feel like a elder dragon's always hungry for magic. That's kind of what I meant. Joko's an unreliable. Yeah, he
That too,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, it's an interesting theory. I think your theory holds up if what Mithrin says, like, it's what Mithrin brought up. It was interesting. Like, what is the unforeseen related to? Because if it's related to this vague being that you described, then yeah, I think your theory could hold up a little bit. But if it's already predefined and like someone at ArenaNet would have to confirm this honestly, then that's where your theory kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a Hail Mary. It's one thing I saw and I was like,
Yeah.
because I was like, when I first read the dialogue from Vizier Kobron saying about the prophecy, and I was like, what are the unseen? And I was like, and I searched just the unseen, and that came up, and I was like, wait a minute, because I was like, that has nothing to do with the like, so that's when I remembered the Marsal were referred to as the unseen ones, but the prophecy just talks about, uh, the unseen, which like I said in there, it also talks about the disciples of the unseen, which once this we were trying to do this before Abaddon, we supposedly defeated Abaddon at the end of Nightfall. So if Abaddon's minions are now, have no leader, and they were trying to ally with this thing, maybe they are now the disciples of this unseen. But
Yeah. Uh, hmm. That's not where I thought you were going. Huh.
I was just saying, now I'm kind of curious, where did you think I was going with it?
I thought you were gonna go in a direction where, since the gods are gone, and if we finally succeed in harnessing Kralkatorik's magic into Aurene, we're gonna go on this quest to kind of just replace every elder dragon with a being that can house the magic, and then I wouldn't say it would necessarily be a journey to find these beings, but there's like a
Well, I think
it
that's what
kind of
kind
be
of Mithrin
it
was
can be like a end
hinting
of
at.
nightfall type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're just kind of replacing like these gods and elder dragons with just regular beings from our realm of Tyria. So
Well, I think that's what kind of Mithrin was hinting at was, oh, can the pale tree absorb the magic too? I
yeah, like that's a
I
perfect
think it now
example.
has the ability to, just because, just like Aurene is. I mean, technically, Aurene is kind of along the same lines as what the pale tree was, separated from the mind and the corruption of their, elder dragon.
Yeah, that's where I thought you were going with it, but
Hmm.
and then I thought you were going to come up with like different people who could potentially do it, but uh, human dragon is very from dragon to dragon. They're not exactly the same. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like there had to be like a compatibility thing as well. So, um,
Yeah, that is true. It's
cost is one of those things.
if well, actually, what would be hilarious if cost was one of the replacements. Actually, this is what I think is interesting. I think I've said it before. Was we I always feel like the elder dragons and the gods were on some kind of like cycle where they were made, maybe the gods represented order in the sense of they could be more thinking and outspoken type thing, whereas the dragons were more like chaos type thing. But what if it's more like how we were saying before, the reason Arene can take this power is because she has a champion in us? What if
Mm.
we're trying to find whatever can absorb this power? So maybe for the uh, uh, Mount Morgemoth power, the Pale Tree can do it, but we then need a more human like vessel, like a actual racial vessel. Like it doesn't have to be the humans; it could be like Norn, whatever. Maybe not Sylvari because they would still be minions. That might be the weird thing. But what if these are becoming the new what people have seen in their eyes as the gods? What if the gods were just champions of the original dragons that could assume the power? And that's why they could contain it.
Hmm. Hmm.
The connection between dragons and gods has been debunked. Dragons and gods just happen to have spheres of power. That doesn't mean they are related anyway. Where was that debunked? I don't remember, in all honesty, but and
Yeah, they are
elementalists.
conflicts of power, but
Well, and originally I thought it was something like they wanted to chase down these powerful entities that were utilizing their particular element. But I'm wondering if it's like because we never had, we always assumed like the history books, and the history books have been rewritten when Guild Wars 2 first released. Um, so even things could have changed.
I wouldn't say the dragons and gods are related. I think the ability to take a dragon's absorb a dragon's power is similar to that of what happened in Nightfall when Cormyr took Abaddon's power.
Yeah, and I think maybe this is what we learn about is the dragons are maybe now more angry about this kind of thing now that we know that they're more of a they have a method to their madness, like you were saying earlier, Mithrin, is they're not just wild crazy storms like they first told us about, but they do have a method to their madness. But maybe they were angry by their champions because they kept using their power. Other races were here before the gods came and bring humans with them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
Well, it's true. The gods brought the humans to Tyria, so
Yeah. Uh, I'm not saying like I'm not even saying the gods are human, like of the human race. I mean, some are because they the transfer of power and stuff like that. But
it's both using magic. Hmm. Yeah.
well, but that's the funny thing. You say there's no connection. The words you just say in the previous part show that there's a connection. There's a relationship. They are a part of this machine. One
They
one
have
takes
to
in
be.
the
Yeah.
magic. Yeah, I'm not saying they're related in like Abbott or like there's a strong relation to them, but they're a part of this cycle that is Tyria's magical ecosystem of.
Yeah, everything's a part of the magic ecosystem. That's why they left in the first place, because they knew if they stayed with the dragons around, they would cause problems. So there's no there the mat no, I disagree with that, because the very core fundamental reason for the gods leaving is because of the other dragons being around. It's not the same as it's not the same as Balthazar's magic, but there's still a magical system in place. There's a power struggle there. Hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if that's the case, then that just unravels any lore of why the dragons are going after magic in Tyria. Because
If yeah,
if gods gave the races like magic to the world, which that could be a lie, that could have been drummed up by the humans themselves, but then it really creates the whole point of the dragons rising back up pointless or not make sense.
the gods wouldn't have to leave if that was the case. Man's God, because they are compelled to it, like crazy people and Muslim fan.
Yes, gods gave humans the magic. They also took it away from other races as well, which goes back to the manipulation.
Now, this is what I meant by instinct, right? The dragons just want to consume magic because they're constantly hungry for it.
The Jotun didn't choose to go away from it. Like I said, they even talk about how the gods they weren't their special little friends anymore. Like they started looking at the humans. The gods took the magic away from the Jotun and gave it to the humans. At least that's how some of the Jotuns see it.
Oh, wait, really? The
Yeah,
Jotun had what? The Jotun had magic.
yeah, and
I
they were
just
actually
thought I thought they just stopped practicing it.
yeah, because I still remember if you talk to some of the ones in like the Norn starting area, it's like they talk about how past history, yeah, they lost the favor of the gods. That's probably when humans replaced the previous gods.
Hmm. And eventually get a realm where I just do not have the knowledge for, sadly.
Yeah, I know the Jotun fought the dragons before, and so did the Seer. They were the original five. It was dwarves, Jotun, Seers, Mersat. What was that? Four. The
Hmm.
fifth one was. Now I'm blanking on the fifth one. Was it Forgotten? But
I've
uh,
forgotten.
maybe I'm trying to think. I think so because they were also the ones that helped with the ritual for. But then the Mersat betrayed us or betrayed the five. But okay, Forgotten was the one I. Weirdly enough, the Forgotten were the forgotten ones I forgot. Um,
Huh.
the old races put their magic into the bloodstones to save it from the dragons. The Forgotten gave the stones to the gods after, and the gods refused to give it back.
Hmm.
I don't know. I think we're now getting into super, like,
Where
I
did
don't know.
magic
It feels like
start?
we're kind of dwindling, but
Where did magic start? Yeah.
yeah. Well,
I honestly,
like I
I'm
said,
not.
I don't think this is a story that's going to be answered in the one episode. I think this might be what we find out eventually. At least my theory was of why we have to go after Kralkatork and end him instead of trying to figure out a way to, you
Yeah.
know, do it
I,
safely.
sh- I should see if I can get. We should see if we can get like. That'd be nice if we got lore-based arena forums on magic and like the ancient history of magic in Tyria. That would kind of help with this discussion. But
That would be nice.
yeah,
Yeah, it's always like sprinkled in with the other stuff, but never. But I
super
think that's
lore
also a
deep.
problem. Is sometimes they can't or probably won't answer it because it might have something to do
It
with.
yeah, it conflicts with
Yeah.
stuff. Mm.
What if
But
the other
technically, they
races
don't
are
have
the
to
ones that
answer it,
created
right?
the dragons? Example, maybe the Jotun created Jormag and it just went crazy with magic.
Mm. Yeah, I understand. Keeping it vague is a good idea to go.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that's the other problem. If they say it's like, oh yeah, this is the history, that locks it in. Like that's
Yeah, but understanding the past of what necessarily happened in terms of the fluctuation of magic in Tyria, like the Jotun were magic users, now they're not. The Forgotten were magic users, but they're not around as much or anymore. Like things like that, it'd be nice to have.
I would like to see that because that is established in the game. Like that's
Yeah, it's
and
just
it, like
like things.
because like I said, it's in like some of the starting area of like going through the story, but also with the ore dungeon, the Jotun path. It kind of talks about how they practiced and all that stuff, but
Yeah. Okay, so Jordan can still use magic, not math. Yeah, because they still have those like ice great swords that they use. But yeah, like like understanding the lore that should be general knowledge. If you lived in Tyria and you went to school to learn about Jotun, you
oh,
think you
that would
would
be an
understand.
awesome series.
Oh, that would be an awesome series.
Like it's like a classroom. It's like okay, open up your textbooks.
Yeah, well, like if you went to school in Tyria and you want to learn about the Jotun, you would obviously learn the history of the Jotun and why they don't use their magic as much as they used to and things like that. It's what you're taught in school. It may not be the truth, but at least we have like a general understanding, right? Because
Now,
it may
now
not
I'm
be it
just
not be 100% the truth. Let's say,
yeah.
like it's
Well, even our history is not 100% the truth. It's
yeah.
but now all I'm thinking of is like you know how like you get like the ads and the commercials for like further education of like go to our website and you can buy courses. It's like yeah, I'd like a course. I'd like to buy the course on Jotun history, and it's like they
Uh,
basically taking the internet courses like that.
that'd be I would that'd be pretty cool. Give you some insight on it. On I forgot which other one. Oh, Raw gives you some. Yeah, but that'd be kind of neat just to have some sort of background knowledge available.
Oh no, or is doing the dungeon in a raw is definitely nice for the dragon lore because like you're saying about the race and stuff because the Mersat path tells you a little bit about how they looked at the dragons. The Jotun, I think the Jotun were the interesting ones because I think they looked to the stars and stuff like that, and they talked about how I think it was when Zaitan rose, there was a particular star that flickered, or one of the dragons when they started stirring, one of the stars started to flicker, which made me think that their realm, like if the gods were somehow connected, like power wise or something like that, of like consuming energy, maybe that's what it had something to do with. Was like maybe that star, because some stars in the sky could theoretically be a planet just far away. And what if that's where the realm for this god is, and the realm for that god, and
Mm-hmm.
okay, the Jotun path is the observatory one. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. But yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. I would like to actually see that. But I don't know. We've been going now for about 2 hours show wise. Is there any other theories or craziness of?
Yeah, I don't have any. It's been a long week for me, so I don't have much time to think about any theories.
Well, that's the problem. The myths are everything around the universe. It's the between stuff. That's why I'm saying it. Do we know that it's not another planet? I mean, or another. Well, not literally the space around Tyria. Oh boy, we'll talk about it during after show because this is
We're
but
getting technical.
yeah, we're getting deep. But yeah, stick around. We'll do an after show. We'll probably continue with this, but that is it for this week, and hopefully maybe we'll even continue this more next week if we don't have a lot of news. But Age, where can they find you?
Twitch and YouTube at ArenaNet Road. I didn't stream this week. I had to be a lead developer this week for some reason. So I didn't have a lot of time to do stuff. I'll try to do stuff over the holidays. Get some gaming in for sure. I need anime and farming. I probably won't stream farming because that's kind of boring. But yeah, you know what I mean. I'll tweet. Just
Oh,
come hang
awesome.
out.
Yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah.
And you can find me at simply_Dayo on Twitch and Twitter. And it just sucks getting the holiday nearing, because I did get this in the mail, my new brainwave device. So I will probably be doing stream. Definitely going to be doing one for the new Living Story, but I was going to plan on starting a playthrough of the Destiny 2 story and stuff, but I was like, oh, I'll have to try this. And I was like, oh, I can do it Sunday. And I'm like, oh crap, I'm doing a family thing. I'm like, no. Like, so maybe since my family kind of does like up until Christmas Day, so maybe on the 25th, but I might play around with it some, but we'll see. But yeah, for me, stick around, Twitch, Twitter. I'll probably tweet out when I'm doing it. But if you are just popping in, do stick around. We do a bit of after show. We'll probably keep talking about the story stuff, and getting into the nitty gritty. And but yeah, if you want to watch us in full, we do highlight it on Twitch here at twitch.tv/MAAD, 2 A's in the MAAD. If you want to watch this, we do put it up on YouTube if that's your preferred method. That goes up on Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Just do youtube.com/MAAD, 2 A's in the MAAD. If you want to make it out to the live show, if you're watching us on YouTube or the recorded version on Twitch, we usually go up Saturdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We do a bit of a pre-show, so if you want to pop in early. But if you just follow us on at Talking Skritt or at Mad Realms on Twitter, we usually tweet out when we're going live with it, so you can always join in that way. But if you want to find it all in one nice little cozy, nice little bow package for Winter's Day, maybe, just go to our website, Mad Realms, 2 A's in the MAAD, madrealms.com, and that's where we actually have the audio version of this podcast, and we are going to look into trying to get it on Google Play, like those platforms and stuff. So for people that have like apps that auto update, we're looking into that eventually, but it's always fun hoops to jump through for all that fun stuff. But yeah, that is it for this week. And yeah, have fun on Winter's Day, play the raid and stuff, and make sure to do your roller beetle race, because I think that's ending this week too. So maybe get a awesome prize. But yeah, we'll see everybody next time, and always in the game. Good night, everybody.
Happy holidays.